as well, I want to say thank you again to everyone who has joined the session tonight, and I hope that you're taking notes. One of my belief system about building success, and which is even a spiritual law of success, is writing down. When we write things down, you just find out that it's happening. You don't even know when you've written those things down. So make notes and just ensure that you reflect on whatever it is you take away from here tonight. And I promise you, you begin to see massive transformation in the way that you show up and develop. So I've been given a topic to talk about mindset and well-being. Super excited for that. That is my strong point. I love to share that because, of course, I also have a story around burnout. But just before I go into that, probably as I am talking, I'll touch base on some of that. So I think one of the important questions that you sent my way tonight, Missy, is the role of mindset in achieving success or building success. And I love to talk about mindset a lot because our mindset is the greatest asset that I feel any human being can have. And that's why you find people who are even physically disabled still being able to produce maximally. That's to tell you that it's in here. Not about just the hands, not about just the body movement, but it's in here. It tells you that that's what's optimum in our body. And if you don't already know, the mindset is not an organ. It's not, you can't hold it. Like if you get operated in the surgical room today, there's no tissue or organ or a system that could be pulled out to say that, oh, this is what the mindset looks like. No. So it's all part of our muscles and what we've built into those parts of muscles. So we usually say in neuroscience that mindset is a muscle and you've got to build that muscle. So, and the role of mindset is such that when you are able to work on it, it is pivotal to everything that you can accomplish, either as an individual, as a woman, as a man. It's very pivotal like that. So I'm going to give you 3 major roles of the mindset when you're building success or when you're working on yourself as an individual. So one of the major ones that I would want to say is your mindset controls your resilience, because the kind of mindset you have would then begin to determine how strong you can stay put on anything you're doing. How many times have you started something and you feel like giving up? What keeps driving you is the mindset of growth, like knowing that I'm going to figure this out. The mindset, again, if you look at it as a machine that is producing something, there are 2 things the mind is doing or the mind is producing. Is either producing positive thoughts or negative thoughts. The only or the major function of the mind is to produce thoughts, no other thing. It produces thoughts, it tells you what to do, it tells you what not to do. So when you know that, when you think about something, it's very good to know where it's coming from. Think about it like a container where everything you now think about or your thought process comes from that container. And whatever you think about begins to push what you do. I'm sure we've heard about, or maybe if you've not heard about it, don't let me assume that how you think is now going to influence how you feel, and that will influence your behavior. So the mindset is the one that helps you to pick up on thoughts. So you can either begin to be a positive thinker or a negative thinker. But one beautiful thing about the mind is that you can train it. You can train it on the kind of thoughts you want it to produce. You can train it on the kind of things you want to focus on. You can train it to, even when you wake up in the morning, you would notice that sometimes you might start counting your blessings. Other times you might start thinking of what didn't go wrong, what didn't go right the previous day. That is the job of the mind. So the mind doesn't know, you can program the mind. You can tell it what to think about. This moment you can be thinking about something really bad, something really, frustrating, but you have the power to immediately change that thought. That is when you have now begun to master the mind. So for people who are, high achievers, for people who are doing things that they feel successful about, it comes from a state of mind, and we can all have that state of mind when we begin to slow down and think about, what are my thought process? What's my dominant thought process? Am I usually thinking positive or am I thinking negative most of the time? And that acceptance and that acknowledgement begins to drive you to what you want to achieve. What can I do to start changing that state of mind? Very important, like that. So again, your mind, like I said, it helps you think, it helps you produce your thought, whether you're producing positive or negative thoughts. Another thing the mind does is to pick up on a growth mindset or pick up a fixed mindset. So those who have a growth mindset, they won't give up. They know too well that challenges will come, but they would embrace it knowing that they would figure it out. Those who have a fixed mindset, they're not open to development, they're not open to new things, they're not open to learn. So it's another way of accepting, what kind of mind do I have? If we don't begin to question these things, we wouldn't know. Even so many times you might see yourself, oh, I'm very good at this or I'm very good at that. But when you really slow down, you find the answer. What kind of mind do I have? What should I, how can I build my mind? So that is the role of mindset. You need to ensure that you pick up positive mental attitude with your mind. And what helps you pick up positive mental attitude is first to look at what your thought process look like. Am I always thinking negative? Am I always thinking positive? So per minute, our mind is producing up to 6 to 8 thoughts per minute. And science has showed that, out of these 8 thoughts, 6 of it is usually negative. But you can then begin to switch those negative thoughts to positive thoughts. It takes intentionality. I think one of our speakers also mentioned that the other time. By noticing that, I think I'm always thinking negative. I think I'm always, hard on myself. I think I'm always critical of myself. Because all of these things come from the state of mind. Limiting beliefs, limited mindset. It all comes from a state of mind. So that is the role of the mindset, to pick up a mindset that can help you become a positive thinker, that can help you become, that you can think forward with and that you can build success with. The second question I think I have, or the second point I'm going to touch on, is how we can avoid burnout. Either as women in the room, whether you're a leader, you lead in business, or maybe you're just maybe you're not even in business. I love to talk to entrepreneurs. That's what I'm mentioning, business. Yeah. So what to do to avoid burnout? I've got 3 major points for you. And the very first one is to become clearer. Have a clarity on your vision. Have a clarity on who you are. Have a clarity on what you want to achieve and why you want to achieve it. I think it's very important to know why we want to achieve it, because if you do not know what you want, you find yourself just going into many rooms. I remember when I switched from event design business to coaching, and like right now I'm in school for become a therapist. I remember when I switched into that lane, it was because I got the clarity, I got the prompt to start thinking about who I want to become. And this vision didn't come easy. This vision only came after an adversity. Like Dr. Locke said the other time, it's about overcoming your barrier and thinking about what is the next right level. So it's about turning adversity into big change, big impact, not just for yourself, but for others. So when I burnt out, I only know now that the reason I burnt out was because of the way I defined success for myself. So to me, success meant a lot of things that was unhelpful with the way I was thinking. So not until I reimagined success for myself did I really start, walking in the lines of building sustainable success without losing myself. But I have once lost myself, or almost lost my mind, before this came to now be my path process of thinking. But I don't want, and that's very good for us to be looking at how we can avoid burnout. We don't want it to happen before we start forestalling it, before we start taking action. What can we do to forestall it? So I want to invite everyone in the room to think about, what is my big vision? And the way I look at big vision and big goals is that, think about, because I know that culturally, money can be a thing that how is the word, that just makes us not look at the bigger things that we're made for. Money can be an issue. Like, we're out there wanting to make a living, and we just forget that we do have a purpose beyond that, just wanting to make a living. So it's good that we want to make a living. It's the basic needs of human being. We need money for survival. But do not forget that beyond that, we all have a purpose. We all have a uniqueness that, we carry, and we're meant to use that uniqueness to solve problems. Like, they say people who solve problems, they won't go hungry, because they would impact, and where there is impact, income will flow. So the way to avoid burnout is become visionary, become very clear about your vision. What do you want, and why do you want it? Secondly, okay, so why do you want it would be the second one I wanted to talk about, the intention. Because you can want something, but you feel tired on the way because you've not gotten it, because it's not come to you. You might just feel tired, like, oh, maybe this thing is not forthcoming, maybe it's not going to happen. But the intention you carry is, oh, why do I want these things? And I want to encourage you, make that intention bigger than just you. Oh, I want to survive, I want to succeed. Make that intention also about people. And to the business owners in the rooms, I say something that consider humanity beyond the marketplace. It's just not, oh, I want to sell my next product, I want to make money off my business. What about humanity? How many big names in the world have we seen today that still struggle with really connecting to humanity? I'm in the world of coaching, and I'm also in the world of therapy, and I see that a lot of people who come into the therapy room, one of the things they come into the therapy room about is not just about money. It's about the fact that they've lost their purpose. They don't even know what they identify as. They don't even know who they are. So some of them is not even money problem. I say this to say that the intention behind the work that which is very, very big, and we should not just make it about ourselves or about our personal needs. It's also about humanity. And the third one, if you want to really avoid burnout, seek support. I always say this, that if you want to go far, go with people. People want to go fast, so they're like, okay, let's go alone. And the saying is really true. You want to go fast, go alone. I have been through burnout, a deep one, a very difficult one that almost claimed my life, because at that point I became suicidal. A very, very big burnout that affected my family, that affected, our finances, because of course I had to be taking, to different places to get care, and that sapped out some finances as well. So I don't want anyone to get to that point where it's getting really difficult before you take the right action. So seek support. Don't just build and keep going alone. Seek support. Think about who can be my mentor, who can be my coach, who can I learn from, and just learn from them. Follow a leader. Follow a leader is very important. You don't necessarily want to follow a leader to be like that leader, but you want to follow them to learn, someone to lean on, someone to speak to, someone to learn from. So that will be 3 ways that I want you to look back at avoiding burnout. And number 1, again, I'll go through it, is vision. Become clear about your vision and be intentional, like have a clear intention about that vision. And the third one is going to be to seek support. We are also going to talk on the topic about the signs to recognize burnout. I think that's very, very big, because if we can recognize it, we can stem it. If we can, before it becomes something blown out, we can start to deal with it. So first sign of burnout. I mean, there are different signs of burnout. There's the physical signs, the emotional signs, the mental signs, behavioral signs as well. So I've carved out the 3 most common signs of burnout that I want you to look at. Although, like I said, there are different categories of the signs that we can look at. But number 1 sign is you can't slow down. Very common. Like you can't pause. Pausing feels like you're lazy. Pausing feel like something is going to go wrong. So you're responding out of fear and out of worry and anxiety, rather than responding out of purpose. Like, I know what I'm doing and I know why I'm doing it, and I can build strategically. So when you're beginning to see that you can't slow down, always on, thinking about the next email you want to respond to, the next networking, the next sales call you want to make, and you can't even plan a holiday. You can't even, sometimes it's not even just a holiday. Sometimes it's just you getting back from work and being in your room and just sip on, a lovely bottle of wine and just enjoy yourself, cool down, watch a movie, maybe read a book. Just find something that helps you slow down, because downtime is as important as work time. But we do always feel like, downtime might mean that you're lazy. Rest is not luxury, it's a necessity. Like, we have to schedule it daily. Just like we schedule 9 to 5 to go and work, we should schedule maybe 8 to 9, 7 to 9, or whatever for our slowing down, our downtime to replenish, to rejuvenate, and to just, honor our body, honor our mind. It's for our own good at the end of the day, in the long run. So if you can't slow down, that is a big sign of burnout. You can't slow down. You're already tending to it. And when you burn out once, chances are, if you don't look at the causes, you don't look at the signs, you don't begin to recognize them, chances are you will burn out again. And no one comes out of a burnout totally complete. Something is always, going into it. So the second one is the feelings of helplessness or hopelessness. That's another sign of burnout. Oh, there's no help, isn't available. Things are tough. Why is it always me? What is going on with my life? All of those feelings of helplessness, it's already getting to the peak. I can't have this again. That is a big sign of burnout as well. And the third one is being irritable. Like you're snapping at every little thing. Sometimes you snap on your partner, your children, your colleague at work, sometimes the clients, the customers, the team members. You're just highly irritable. You can't just be calm. You can't really process things calmly. So that's another big sign. If you're finding yourself highly irritable, slow down, ask yourself, what's going on there for me? What is going on there? What should I change? What do I need to change? Sometimes you just feel like it's the next person that has made a mistake, whereas it is our own personal projection of how we're feeling on others. So that is another sign. So I'm going to go over the 3 signs I've mentioned again. One is that you can't slow down. When you're finding out that you're finding it difficult to slow down, begin to question that. Why is it that I can't pause? What's my block to pausing and resting? What's the block for me? Second one is feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. And the third one is becoming unnecessarily irritable. And I'm not going to call it unnecessary, but I would call it's a cause for concern. To look deeper into that particular behavior. So the final one that you set to talk about is how we can protect our well-being. And I love to say that a lot. And I'm not going to give you all the regular things like exercise, drink a lot of water, do walks and all that. I'm going to take us into intrinsic way, the root way to protect our well-being. Number one is to honor our identity. I said the other time about, how we define success. Maybe success means different things to of course, success will mean different things to different people. So when I was in uni, I was one of the very first female vice presidents in my university back then in Nigeria. And when I grew up and I started doing works around therapy and helping others, I would look back into timelines of my life. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? You would have thought that, maybe the reason I did that was really to support people. Whilst that was one of the reasons I went into that leadership role, another thing that came up for me was the need to be needed, which isn't a good identity. The need to be needed. Why should I be needed? People can solve their own problems. People can be who they want to be. Either you're there or you're not there. But you have to be who you want to be for who you really need to be. So honor your identity. Know how you do things. Know what is right for you. That will help you protect your well-being internally. It helps you guard your space, your territory. It helps you show up respectfully. It helps you show up authentically. Like, you don't want to be other people because they're lawyers. You don't need to become a lawyer. Or because your parents have asked you to do this. You don't need to go that route. It's about honoring who you are. Recently, I knew my neurodiverse status. And that also helped me to choose the things I do, the rooms I enter. And I just feel every human being, we have our neuro